Hey guys, what's up? Time for another social fighting game commentary about Smash Brothers not being at EVO, which the too long didn't read would be. I do think Smash Brothers is a real fighting game, and I think the inmates have always been running the asylum, and I'll get at what I'm talking about there in a second. All right. Remember, if you like the videos, like, sub, comment, share, support the channel if you want. I appreciate it. Thanks. So, I've always said before, I think Smash Brothers is a real fighting game. It is a one-on-one fighting game, okay? It is a competitive endeavor. I think the biggest knock for Smash Brothers not being a real fighting game to me has always been the idea that they make so many rules for how the game can be played, right? Oh, you can't have stages, you can't have items, you can't have supers, even after in the new Smash Brothers. Didn't they, in the new Smash Brothers, I think they even added a way that you can get supers or some shit, and they turn all that stuff off, and I think that is what, to me, is the most thing that delegitimizes Smash Bros. As a real fighting game. When you got to make so many rules for how your fighting game can be played, I think that is a knock on your game. And a question would be, because, I actually think it's pretty cool. I think the Smash Brothers community, they actually made their own kind of idea of how Smash Brothers can be, or they made their own rebalance of the game, I think, before. And I'm not totally versed on it whatsoever, but if anyone in the comments can say, and that Smash Brothers that they made, they rebalanced all this kind of stuff. Can you pick stages and do supers in that one? If you can, let me know. But anyway, that's my biggest knock on the game. So, but the general idea is I do think it's a fighting game. And I think if the spiel is that Evolution is the greatest fighting game of all tournament, the greatest fighting game tournament of the year, whatever, not only should it always have a Street Fighter 2 tournament, but I do think Smash Brothers deserves to be there as well. So I think it looks bad on both parties, Smash Brothers not being there, because I think it's a game, a fighting game, right? I think it's a real one. And I know I'm in the minority of OG kind of Street Fighter players that think that, but I do think that. And when I talk about inmates running the asylum, because there's this idea that Smash Brothers brings in a bad crowd. It's not the same Street Fighter crowd, right? And I've talked about these in this kind of like psychology, social videos that I've made. And when I'm talking about the inmates have always been running the asylum, there's some OG people that they think that even, King of Fighter people, were kind of like bringing in a bad crowd to video games. And I've talked about before, I talk about these videos of like the Guilty Gear community is such a great example of a community that thought they were special. And then once real people that were good at video games started playing their game, they saw, oh, now we're losing, blah, blah, blah. Great example of that, right? So the thing is, I've said this so many times before, fighting games have always been very inclusive to many demographics and social standards or whatever it might be of people that play it. You're brought up being told that, the cliche Asian guy in the movie is the super nerdy guy that's good at video games, or the fat nerd with glasses, pimples, whatever. But I've said so many times when I got into video games, I saw that the people that you often did not expect were the people that were good at video games. And that's why there's so much hate. It's like backwards. The community, it's so ridiculous that when you play video games nowadays, you got to listen to someone say, oh, hey, did you know that I'm gay? I'm a he, she, it. I'm a transgender on Tuesdays. A rhinoceros tanuki or some shit on Saturday. It's like, dude, we're just playing a game. It's crazy. I don't even it's crazy. Like 20 years ago playing video games, I don't remember it being like this. If a guy was gay, he didn't need to tell me he was gay before we played the match. It was like, dude, I don't care if you're gay. It's cool. Even just 10 years ago, going to an anime con, I don't remember having to listen to everyone tell me that they're transgender or gay or they're a bisexual, rhinoceros, non-binary. You know what I mean? So fighting games and the nerd culture has always been inclusive. And I think that's the kind of thing that, people try to act like it wasn't. So when people are talking about the, bringing in the Smash community is bad for Street Fighter, bringing in like King of Fighters or these other communities are bad, I don't think that's a problem, because these people have always been part of the community. It's just that you've given power to these people that don't deserve it. because being gay doesn't make you special. Being gay doesn't make you special. Me being straight doesn't make me special. The only thing that should generally matter if you're good at a video game is if you're good, right? Not your social standing, your sexuality, whatever it is. And the problem is, again, you're giving, power to the inmates. These crazy people that are they act fucking crazy. Social justice warriors who don't give a fuck about anybody, actually. They're just part of an agenda, you know what I mean? A fake misinformation narrative agenda about whatever person they want to be talking about at the time, right? So what I'm getting at too, and besides, actually I should say something as well. I don't think you can necessarily blame, say, a Smash Brother crowd for being maybe quotation marks more nerdy, whatever it might be, more incelish, whatever kind of negative phrasing you're using. I don't think you can actually, that's even necessarily fair, because sometimes it's just accessibility. If you had a Nintendo 64 or whatever it was when Smash Brothers first came out, I think the only other even fighting game they had for that at the time was maybe Mortal Kombat Trilogy, and it might have been called Mortal Kombat Gold, I think, for Nintendo 64. I'm trying to think, right? It's not like these people had access to play it. Maybe just the demographic and accessibility of people that play this game is going to cater to a more nerdy and potentially, I don't think, being a nerd doesn't have to be a bad thing, but if we're using it in a negative context, right, more nerdy kind of demographic, because it's what's accessible to them, right? Just like some people, the idea that King of Fighters brings in a more degenerate crowd. Well, you get into that, it's the same thing that I've talked about Guilty Gear. A lot of these people like, oh, well, I'm not good at Street Fighter or something like that. So, and I'm not saying this isn't anything against Guilty Gear or King of Fighters, because I've said many good things about the series before, but sometimes just socially and psychologically, you have people that gather around a certain game because people as human beings want to feel like they're good at something. So maybe they're not good at Street Fighter, so they want to feel like they're good at something. They find whatever cliche game that they like. Hey, let's take Karna's Revenge for an example. Oh, Street Fighter's not that good, but I got this one game you haven't heard about. Karna's Revenge. And I'm the best at it. Oh, fuck, Clayton, who's actually good at other video games, beats me? Let's cancel him. You know what I mean? Sometimes just, psychologically and socially, you want to feel like you're good at something. So sometimes the demographic comes from that accessibility. When you think about, sports, you know what I mean? I think you could say something, some demographics of countries, because the sport is more inclined to that sport, whatever it might be, they're going to be better at it. They have more accessibility to it, right? And if we're thinking about, different, if a fighting games, if you think about fighting games as sports or something like that, and then you think about a different demographic of the sport, a Smash Brother fighting game athlete, I guess, whatever, right? It's what's accessible to them, right? So, of course, there's going to be some groups are more nerdy than others, whatever. But there's always been nerdy people that play Street Fighter 2, whatever. But again, the problem is in today's society that you're just giving so much power to the fake social justice warrior, whatever it might be. So I guess that's basically what I'm getting at. I think Smash Brothers, the only thing that has ever delegitimized Smash for me as a fighting game is the fact that they make up so many rules about it, which I think is complete bullshit. But other than that, I think it's wrong to be able to have the biggest quotation marks fighting game, the most important fighting game tournament there is, and then not have a very important fighting game in Smash Brothers at it. And if your argument that it's good that it's not there because Smash Brother brings in a degenerate audience, if you will, the fighting game community in general promotes degenerates and terrible people. So what are you even getting at? I don't think that argument necessarily is fair. Anyway, hopefully that made sense. If you like the videos, like, sub, comment, share, support the channel if you want. I appreciate it. The end. Thanks.